This, if you can see that, is the OPPO Watch X2, a solid, capable Wear OS smartwatch that doesn't bring any groundbreaking new features with it, but what it does do is it nails the basics with a clean design, great health tracking, smooth performance, and brilliant battery life. There are a few hiccups, sure, but there's a lot to like, so let's get straight into it. Hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the Tech Shed. Let's start with what matters most, the price. So for this, I'll use New Zealand dollars because OPPO doesn't actually officially sell phones or wearables in the US, and I live in New Zealand, which just makes it easier. As of time of recording, it sits at 649 New Zealand dollars, which puts it in direct competition with the Apple Watch Series 10, which costs $749, the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra, which costs $798, and the Garmin Venue 3, which costs also $749. Now, what you'll immediately notice is the Watch X2 is at least $100 cheaper than all of those competitors. It ticks most of the same boxes when it comes to design, performance, and day-to-day features, and this makes it, in my view, excellent value for money. You're getting a stainless steel body, sapphire glass, military-grade durability, dual-frequency GPS, and everything you'd expect in a top-of-the-range smartwatch. That said, as mentioned, there are some trade-offs. There's no eSIM support, no auto-wake for notifications, and no real compatibility with iPhones. But for Android users, especially those who care more about function than brand, the Watch X2 holds up extremely well at a pretty good price. In regards to the design, it certainly looks the part. It's very sleek with a 47mm stainless steel case, a titanium alloy bezel, and sapphire crystal up front, and it doesn't just look good, this thing also feels solid. It's mil standard 810H certified, I think that's how you say it, meaning it's built to take a knock, handle rough weather, and survive a bit of a beating. It's also IP68 rated and 5 ATM water resistant, meaning it's dust proof, waterproof, and is water resistant to 50 meters, making it safe for swimming, showers, and everyday use. Now, despite being a large watch, it's surprisingly light, just under 50 grams, and it sits comfortably on medium to large wrists. I would consider my wrist maybe just under medium. But I think smaller wrists might struggle with the size, and your strap options aren't as varied as what you'd get with an Apple or a Samsung watch, but the included bands are decent. Now for the display, it's a very nice, crisp 1.5-inch LTPO AMOLED with a 466 by 466 resolution, and it looks excellent. It's also seriously bright with a peak brightness of 2200 nits, meaning even direct sunlight isn't a problem. It has adaptive refresh rate capabilities down to 1 Hz, which will help save power when you're not actively using it. The touch controls are smooth, easy to use, and functional, and on the side there's a rotating crown that makes scrolling a breeze. There's also a secondary button below that that's subtly recessed, which handles things like returning to the home screen. It all feels very well put together, and it looks really good. Under the hood, you've got the Snapdragon W5 Gen 1 chip paired with a low-power MCU, and this dual-chip setup is one of the Watch X2's best features in my opinion. It uses the powerful chip for active use and the low-power one for background tasks like tracking and notifications. The result is it feels quick when you need it, and it remains extremely power efficient when you don't. Brilliant. Now, it runs Wear OS, so if you've used a modern Android watch before, you'll know the deal. You get access to Google Maps, Assistant, Wallet, and the entire Play Store. Calls over Bluetooth work well, notifications are responsive, and the interface is easy to customize. I pinned Spotify and my alarm directly to my home screen. It took seconds, and it works flawlessly. Phone calls over the watch work as long as you're within range of your phone, and on a call with my partner, she said it sounded a bit weird, but she could hear me clearly enough and was surprised I was talking through my watch. Now, there's no eSIM support, so this isn't a standalone watch, and while it technically works with iPhones, you're losing most of the smart functionality you'd get with an Apple Watch, so I wouldn't recommend it if you're an iPhone user. Also, one major gripe I had with it is there's no auto wake up when receiving a notification. What I mean by that is when you get a notification, the screen doesn't automatically light up. You'll feel a little vibration, and unless you raise your wrist quickly enough, it's gone. So to see it, you'll need to swipe up from the bottom of the screen, meaning you essentially need 2 hands to get a quick glimpse at a WhatsApp message or an email. Now, to be fair, that's not a deal breaker, but I did find it quite annoying. For example, If I'm driving, I'm forced to take my other hand off the wheel in order to see the notification instead of just a quick flick up of the watch. It's not ideal. I probably shouldn't even be looking at my watch while I'm driving, but I do find it a bit weird that it's not a feature here. It's a bit frustrating. Now you get all the expected sensors here: ECG, blood oxygen, wrist temperature, heart rate, sleep tracking, and HRV. There's probably a few more. Overall, it's a very strong health tracking suite. My favorite new feature though is the 60-second health check. It gives you a quick snapshot of your vitals, heart rate, SpO2, temperature, all in one go, and it takes, as expected, only 60 seconds. It's genuinely useful, and it's available both on the watch and in the O Health app. Now, unfortunately, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really tell how accurate the health tracking is, but as a simple measurement, it's quick, easy, and nice to have. Now, for all of those tracking features, you can easily see results, live readings, and past tests in the O Health app. It's intuitive, easy to understand, and simple, which is great for somebody like me who isn't a doctor. Now, workout tracking is just as good. It supports over 100 activity types, performing really well at automatically recognizing when I was walking, running, and even on the treadmill, which some watches I've used still struggle with. And it has enhanced support for 11 key activities. OPPO calls these pro workouts, where you get enhanced tracking analytics, like tennis, for example, where it will track swing speed, total serves, serve, forehand, and backhand metrics. The other pro workouts are running, skiing, swimming, rope skipping, badminton, mountain climbing, walking, cycling, elliptical, and rowing. There's a couple of weird ones in there. I used running as my test workout, and the analytics on offer here are impressive to say the least. Metrics usually reserved for more fitness-oriented smartwatches are here. I wasn't just given my pace and the distance I ran, I was also shown stride balance, vertical oscillation, ground contact time, and lots more in an easy-to-understand breakdown. It's impressive, and if I was a more serious runner, I imagine it would be super helpful. For me, it was just mildly interesting. OPPO claims up to 5 days of battery life in smart mode and up to 16 days in power saver mode. Now, I've found these claims to be mostly true, getting about 4 days off a single charge in smart mode with notifications, health tracking, and some GPS tracking enabled. I didn't have the always on display turned on. If you're after that, the battery will drain a bit faster, capping at just over 3 days. Still, pretty damn impressive. What I like about this most though is it actually makes the smartwatch viable as a sleep tracker. A lot of smartwatches tout their sleep tracking capabilities, but the battery requires a nightly charge, so it's a bit pointless. With the X2, that's not a problem, and it's great having a quick snapshot of why I feel like absolute dog crap after a sleep and how I can potentially fix it. Now, power saver mode cuts a lot. There's no third-party apps, limited tiles, and there's no voice assistant. It also lowers the brightness, but you still get the time, which is handy, basic health tracking like heart rate and sleep monitoring, and message notifications. Now, I didn't use this often, but it's a nice fallback if you're away from a charger, and getting 16 days worth is brilliant if you're going out in the woods or on a fishing trip, or you'll be away from power. Charging itself is quick. A 10-minute top-up gives you about a day of use, and a full charge takes around 40 minutes. The only downside is the USB-A to USB-C charger is non-reversible. The watch needs to be lined up precisely, which can be tricky in the middle of the night if you're trying to be quiet. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely fiddly. So with all that covered, what's my opinion, what's my verdict on the OPPO Watch X2? Well, surprise, surprise, at 649 New Zealand dollars, it competes with the top of the range smartwatches at a better price. You're getting really good battery life, a bright display, advanced fitness tracking, and build quality that feels genuinely premium. It's not without faults. There's no eSIM, no screen wake up for notifications, and iPhone support is more of a checkbox than a real feature. But if you're an Android user after a durable, stylish, and well-balanced smartwatch that doesn't need charging every night, this is one of the best options out there, and at this price, it's arguably one of the best value devices in the premium smartwatch category right now. So that's my review. I hope that helped. If it did, consider hitting that subscribe button. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers now, which is kind of blowing my mind. If you didn't find it helpful, feel free to ask any questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them all. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next review.